Hello everyone. So welcome to the Kiali and Jaeger Sprint 40 summary and demos, June 5, 2020. So yeah, first is just to remind that or if you would like to see all the issues that we have shipped in Kiali version 1.19 or Kanban or Sprint details are public. So you can go to the Kiali projects and to see what is done, what is in the backlog, what are the next issues that we are planning to do, and help us to provide feedback, to tell us which of these issues could be more important for you or new feature that you would like to see in Kiali, and we can plan them and to add it to our review. Okay, I'm happy for newcomers to collaborate. Also, I would like to give you another update that this week was released Istio 1.6.2, and we also bumped the Kiali 1.18.2. So now with the new Istio version, you will have a new bug fix of Kiali that you will deploy. Okay. So for the Sprint 40 highlights today, we will have Mike Thompson with us and also Gary from the Jaeger team. And I'm going to stop sharing and give to Mike to give some highlights from the features that we are working on. Okay, Mike, you have the mic.
Great, thanks, Lucas. Good morning, good afternoon. Let me share my screen here. So for the Team Saturn update, I have a couple slides to go through here. So we've added now an OpenID login strategy, and actually Maz was kind enough to give me a little demo. Let's see if I can find it. So you can see here. Let me start it. Now we have login with OpenID.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Would be good if you could just full screen the whole thing.
Let's see.
If possible.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
How's that?
Terrific.
Okay, let me start that over. So you're logging in with OpenID, put in your email address, password. I see that was a bad email address or password. And now we're logged in with our OpenID. So that's just a quick little demo on that. The next feature is workload logging enhancements. So each sprint we've been just adding more and more stuff. Can you see this? Do I need to make it a little bigger?
That would be fine, yes, if you can.
Okay.
Thanks, good.
Okay, so now we have the ability to hide lines containing a certain string. What this allows you to do is just remove a lot of the cruft in the logs. So, a lot of times there'll be, let's say we don't want to see debug lines, so you can just put, debug in there, and it will get rid of all the debug lines. And anyway, this is just the first feature of this. What didn't make it into this sprint, but will be in the next sprint, is the being able to show specific patterns, and then we're even adding regular expressions, so you can show and hide, based on various regular expressions to get, exactly what you want to see through your logs. And also, we added back in the container selection down here. You can see detail v1. And I think that was it for this sprint. Of course, there's bug fixes and website work and that kind of stuff as well. But those are the main issues. So I will give it back to Lucas.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Let me to share my screen again. Okay, so I'm going also to, oh, sorry. Now, I guess that now you can see the slide, right?
Yep,
Yes.
that works. Yes, yes.
Okay, good. So I'm going also to highlight some of the features or the improvement that we have included in Kiali, and also to perform a little demo about the security objects. So, we have introduced new enhancements, improvement in how we filter labels in the list pages. Kiali offer multi-namespace lists for applications, workload services, and also we add value filters for name, types, health, status, etc. One of the filters was to include the possibility to filter by level, and now we have more improvements to have more rich expression like and or expression when filtering and show that into the list. Another interesting feature that Alberto has working on is, to more provide shortcuts to when we click on the label, we can easily just to click on one of the label in a row and add that label into the filter. So automatically you are clicking just in one specific label and you're going to filter all your application, workloads, or services by that label. This is quite pretty cool in terms of new usability. Okay, so more work that we are doing. So we are continuing extending the support for Istio config. So as you know, Kiali, one of the goals of Kiali is to provide a whole experience on Istio, right? One of the main features is to give you visibility on all the Istio configuration. So on this sprint, we have extended the support for the Istio networking APIs. We didn't have support yet for envoy filters, so now we have added. Also from the Istio config, we have some legacy mixer objects that we didn't support yet, but now all the config APIs are supported within Kiali. Also the new security objects like authorization policies, request authentication, peer authentication are now fully supported within Kiali. And now we have in the actions create new Istio config. We are also extending the new capabilities to create this configuration from Kiali in a UI way. In parallel, as soon as we add new support for new Istio config, one of the features that we take to that is to add value validation. So add value thing, what we want to see is to high level or semantic validation, meaning that, for example, one thing that Kiali provides is that if you are creating an Istio configuration and theoretically is pointing to some, with some selector, you are pointing some workloads, but that workload doesn't exist. This is something that Kiali is going to warn you. What the user, hey, you are mistyping the selector, or you are trying to point to some services that don't exist on Kiali. So this is on your cluster. So Kiali goal is to provide this info. Right? And also as commented now from the created new Istio config, from Kiali we can add Istio configuration from with us in a very high level flow, high level use cases, or more generic way with UI driven forms, right? So we have included full forms for authorization policies, peer authentication, request authentication, and now we may able to perform the same tutorials on the same steps, but from Kiali in a high level perspective. So this is something that I would like to demo. So can you see my Kiali now? I hope, yes, you can see my browser, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what I would like to show, this is, I have the standard looking for demo, because it's pretty useful for this case as a scenario. And I would like to show you how, if I go to the Istio documentation and I go to one of the tasks, I would like to demonstrate how I can perform one of these walkthroughs, okay, from Kiali. For example, I would like to to show you how to follow this HTTP traffic tutorial with the Kiali forms. Basically, in this tutorial, what I want to do is to perform some security on the booking form. By default, there is no security. And following the tutorial, what I want to do is to restrict all the access control of the warlords using Istio configuration. And I would like to show you how we can do that from Kiali, right? So the first step of this tutorial is to try to stop all the traffic on the booking application. How to do that? So we can go to the Istio config. I can go to the actions to create a new Istio config. This is my authorization policy. I can call it in the same way, deny all, right? And I would like to create a rule which is deny all. So all the traffic for this namespace from default is going to specifically deny. So what is going to happen is that at some point I'm going to start reporting some kind of errors. This is the booking for application. When this rule, okay, you can see that now there are some errors. And probably, okay, so now I have, if I try to access to the application, I have an access denied. So this rule is working. So basically, all the traffic is being denied. Right? The next thing that I would like to do is to enable traffic, for example, for the product page. And I want to create a rule just to enable the warlords of product page a specific method operation like get, right? So to perform this scenario, okay, now I can see on my graph that is red because now the telemetry is reporting that there are errors because I have this authorization rule. So to start creating a specific rules, I can go here, also authorization, I can product page, viewer, and I can show you how I can create a rule. So now in the form, I can select a selector. For example, I want to apply this rule with a product page. The authorization policy object could be quite complex. I can give you rules about how to filter the request that is coming from, or how to filter to inside the warlord what I want to filter. For example, in this case, I want to only accept get methods, right? So I add this condition to my request. I'm going to accept only the methods. I can add, more requests like host methods, etc. And finally, when I define all the rule, I can add the rule that I apply for this specific configuration. I can create this one, and now I have created this product view rule, right? So when this rule is working, probably in 1 second, okay, I have the product page application back. So you can see that the product page is working, but remember the previous rule, the deny all, is affecting to the reviews, the details, the ratings. So this is the reason that I can see this page, but inside the details, I have an error because I cannot see what is happening, right? Probably in Kiali, in the graph, I'm going to start to see some change here, but probably the product page is going to be okay, but the details and the reviews are still having some problems because I have this rule. And what I can do is also to try to enable this other application, right? Now I can go to for example, the reviews viewer, a similar rule like this. I want to create a rule. I want to select, in this case, the application reviews. I'm going to put a quite simple just to enable the get method, right? Add this, and when I have defined all the conditions, I can add the rule, right? And this is the rule that I'm going to define, or the rules that match the request that is directing or starting the operation with the method get, right? And I create this one, right? I'm going to do that for the ratings, the times viewer, Okay. Now I'm going to put this into I create the rules, and finally the ratings one. Where I create a rule, I go to the builder, I show how I can select what are the details of my conditions, right? And add this to the rule that I want to add, and I generate this one, right? And when all these rules are in place, what I expect is that now the traffic is going to be open again. I can see that it start to the telemetry reports that there are green lines, green traffic, which is okay. And probably if I go to the application, I see that it's back, right? From Kiali in Istio config, we can see all the authorization policies that are currently applied. For example, I can see this deny all, I can see the detailed viewer, etc. If you follow the tutorial, you may say, hey, I have this, for example, more complex rules, and in some case, I would like to edit this YAML to, for example, to add in the, I want to change my source and to add a from. That's no problem. So Kiali allows you to go to this, for example, and I would like to add this one. Okay, I can see how it's telling me that I'm typing pretty bad. Okay. Okay, found source. Okay, yeah. Telling me that this is not correct. Found source. Okay. Now I can see how I can create an authorization policy from the wizard, from the security form, and also edit them from the YAML. And finally, I will see that, okay, all my traffic remains green, and we'll be able to add all the security flows within Kiali. So now we have support for all the security objects from Istio. So any of these tasks or this tutorial should be able to within Kiali. Okay, last I'm going to pass the mic to Gary to give some of Jaeger highlights. Gary?
Thanks. Yeah, so this sprint, there's no demo, but most of the time has been spent continuing the work on migrating Jaeger over to being based on open telemetry. So here's a list of some of the work that's been going on. A lot of the work's on the collector side, so TLS support, building an all-in-one image that's equivalent to the image that we have now, but based on the open telemetry collector. Supporting Badger as an exporter. Also some work on the OpenTelemetry JavaScript client. So we're starting to get involved in those projects as well. And in addition to that, some bug fixes, also some documentation. So there's some documentation that will explain how the experimental version of OpenTelemetry can be used. So hopefully the community can start to test that out and provide some feedback. And then in addition to that, we've also started some work looking at doing some performance testing of different local storage options. So at the moment we're doing testing on the current Badger implementations to provide a baseline, and then we'll look at some alternatives, see if they can provide better performance and potentially scalability in the future. And that's it. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everyone, for joining this Kiali and Jaeger Sprint 40 demo. So remember, this Monday we start Sprint 41, 3 weeks of development. So our sprints or issues are put it open. So please let us know your feedback. What would you like to add to Kiali? What features would you like to see? Help us to define our priorities on the upstream project. And yeah, thank you for watching.